Hey guys, welcome back to Small Doses of Insight. Buckle up because we're diving deep into Cho Sang Gu, the reluctant badass uncle from Move to Heaven. This guy's story? It's a wild ride packed with heart, fists, and layers. We'll be breaking down the characters from all angles, his backstory, relationships, growth, and what makes him one of the most compelling characters to ever step into the Korean drama scene. And yeah, spoilers ahead, so if you haven't binged the show yet, you might want to bounce before we ruin it all for you. First things first, when you meet Cho Sang Gu, this dude is not your typical K-drama heartthrob or sweetheart. He's rough, reckless, and straight up lives in a pit of anger. When he first rolls up, fresh out of prison, it's clear that this guy has had one hell of a life. Cho Sang Gu's got that I don't care about anything attitude, living alone, smoking like a chimney, and participating in illegal underground fights. The man's a scrapper, and his fists do all the talking. It's easy to peg him as your classic jerk who needs redemption type at first. You know the deal, closed off, self-destructive, angry at the world. But here's the thing with Sang Gu, he's not just angry for no reason. He's got trauma stacked on trauma, which we'll get into soon. But the key takeaway here is that Cho Sang Gu starts as a dude who's given up on life. He's not looking to be anyone's hero, and he sure as hell doesn't want to be some kid's guardian. Why is this guy so pissed off at the world? Well, it all comes down to his past. Sang Gu wasn't always this lone wolf living on the edge. He had a brother, Jung-gu, who was the actual founder of Move to Heaven, the trauma cleaning company. But the relationship was complicated. Sang Gu was estranged from his brother for a long time, and when Jung-gu died suddenly, Sang Gu had a mountain of unresolved guilt to deal with. Here's a man who never got the chance to patch things up, and that regret eats at him throughout the series. On top of that, we find out that Sang Gu's time in prison wasn't just for petty crimes. He accidentally killed a man during one of his underground fights, a guy he actually respected. That's a whole new layer of guilt and trauma. This isn't just some dude who doesn't care. He's a man who cares too much, but he doesn't know how to deal with it. So he pushes everyone away, choosing to live in isolation and to keep his emotions buried under a thick layer of toughness. So Sang Gu gets roped into being the guardian of his nephew, Han Guru, after his brother dies. And here's where the real magic of the show kicks off. Han Guru is on the autism spectrum, and the way he processes the world is totally different from Sang Gu. This kid is meticulous, empathetic, and all about organizing the chaos of death through his trauma cleaning business. Basically, Guru helps sort through people's stuff after they die, piecing together their stories and giving them the closure they deserve. Now for a guy like Sang Gu, who's used to dealing with everything by punching his way through life, this kind of sensitivity and care is way out of his comfort zone. He's the classic bad boy type, forced into a situation where he has to care about something other than himself, and at first, he's just not having it. His reluctance is palpable. He doesn't want to be here, he doesn't want to take care of Guru, and he definitely doesn't want to clean up dead people's belongings for a living. But over time, you see the guy start to crack. Slowly but surely, Han Guru gets under his skin, not by forcing anything, but just by being his genuine self, and that's one of the best parts of Sang Gu's character arc. Watching this hardened, emotionally scarred dude learn to care again. Let's talk about character development, because Cho Sang Gu's growth is what really turns him from an interesting character into an unforgettable one. When we first meet him, Sang Gu's got walls thicker than concrete, but the relationship he builds with Guru isn't some sappy overnight transformation. It's gradual, raw, and real. The two of them are awkward together at first, almost like they're from different planets. Sang Gu doesn't know how to communicate with Guru, and Guru doesn't know how to handle Sang Gu's aggression and apathy. But here's where the bro stuff comes in. Sang Gu isn't the type of guy to sit down and talk about his feelings, but he's got this unspoken respect and care for Guru that starts to show in little ways. Like instead of straight up saying he cares, Sang Gu shows up, he sticks around, he tries. The man is all about actions over words. He's the kind of guy who will teach you how to throw a punch rather than give you a hug, but by the end, those punches are filled with some serious uncle vibes. One of the most important moments of growth is when Sang Gu starts to care about the people Guru helps to move to heaven. At first, he's just going through the motions because he's stuck with this responsibility, but over time, he starts to connect with the stories of the people they're helping. You see him reflecting on his own losses, his own regrets, and in a way, he's cleaning up his own emotional baggage along with the physical stuff. Now let's talk about one of the most dude bro aspects of Sang Gu, his involvement in underground fighting. This is a big part of who he is when we first meet him, and it's not just about beating up people for money. The fights are symbolic of Sang Gu's internal battle. He's fighting himself just as much as he's fighting his opponents. It's a way for him to let out all the anger, guilt, and self-hatred he's bottled up inside. But as he grows closer to Guru, you start to see a shift. The fighting becomes less about punishing himself and more about protecting something, namely his nephew. There's this awesome scene where Sang Gu steps into the ring again, but this time it's not because he's trying to self-destruct. It's because he's standing up for Guru, for the life they're trying to build together, for the family he's finally starting to care about. It's like watching a dude who's been in a dark tunnel for years finally seeing a light at the end. The fighting doesn't define him anymore. It's just one part of his story and he's slowly moving past it. If we're gonna get real for a second, the best part of Sang Gu's character isn't the fights or the badass moments, it's his relationship with Guru. What starts as this forced, awkward dynamic turns into one of the most heartwarming uncle-nephew bonds you'll ever see. And the best part? It's not sugar-coated. Their relationship has bumps, misunderstandings, and moments where it looks like Sang Gu might just bail. But every time, he sticks it out. He learns how to communicate with Guru in a way that works for both of them. He starts to understand Guru's quirks, his need for order, and the way he processes emotions differently. Sang Gu isn't trying to change Guru, he's learning to meet him halfway, and that's what makes their bond so special. It's not about one person saving the other, it's about both of them growing together. By the end, Sang Gu is far from perfect, but he stepped up in a way that shows real character growth. He goes from being a guy who only cares about himself, and even that's debatable, to being a dude who's ready to fight for his family, literally and figuratively. So by the time we hit the final episodes, Sang Gu's journey has been one of redemption. But here's the kicker, his redemption isn't about being forgiven for his past mistakes by some external force, it's about forgiving himself. He spends so much of the series carrying the weight of his guilt, whether it's about his brother, the man he killed, or the way he's lived his life. But through his relationship with Guru, he starts to realize that he doesn't have to be perfect. He doesn't have to erase his past. What matters is what he does now, and what he does is take responsibility. Not just for Guru, but for himself. He's not the screw-up he thought he was. He's not just a fighter or a guy with a criminal record. He's someone who can care, someone who can change, and someone who can make a difference in someone else's life. That's the real emotional punch of Cho Sang Gu's story. He doesn't get some fairy tale ending where everything is magically fixed. He still has his demons, his regrets, and his scars, but now he's not running from them. He's facing them head on, just like he does in the ring. Let's be real, Cho Sang Gu is the kind of character that dude bros can get behind. He's got the rough exterior, the fists of fury, and the tragic backstory, but more than that, he's got heart. He's not just some two-dimensional tough guy. He's complex, flawed, and dare I say it, relatable. He doesn't start out as a hero. Hell, he doesn't even want to be a hero. But by the end, you can't help but root for him. He's proof that no matter how far you've fallen, no matter how much you've screwed up, there's always a way to climb back. Even if that way involves cleaning up after dead people and taking care of a nephew you barely know. Cho Sang Gu isn't just a badass. He's a dude who learns how to be vulnerable, how to care, and how to fight for the things that matter. And honestly, that's the kind of character we need more of. Thanks everyone for watching this video. If you enjoyed what you saw, please don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more content like this. Also be sure to check out my other videos for more insight on other dramas and shows as well. Your support means a lot to me and it helps me grow this channel. If you have any thoughts, questions, or suggestions for future videos, please drop them in the comments down below. Again, thank you for watching this video and I'll see you next time.